welcome our guest, Adebiyi Benet. He is a social commentator. So glad to have you talk about this particular topic.
Good morning to you in the studio and good morning to the viewers.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us, Sijibomi Benet. Thank you. Happy New Month, by the way.
Yes, happy new month and compliments of the season.
We wish you the very same.
Wish you too. So let me start by asking you first of all, which of the bands are you on? Are you on band A, band B, band C, band D?
Some people will tell you that they are bandless because they are not enjoying the benefits of the bands. But I think at home, I'm on band B, and in the office, I'm on band A.
All right. So how sustainable is this electricity banding system in Nigeria? And does it actually promote equity, among different socioeconomic classes?
The truth about it, from my own perspective, is that the idea was a lofty one. Having people who earn more, who can afford it, to pay more for electricity. It's not even as if they're paying more, but paying the rate at which, let me say, the competitive rate was a good one, because people, when the NLC was talking about it, they were saying increase in electricity. It wasn't like an increase in electricity because it was just 15% of the total consumers paying. So you have people, for example, in places that seems like people who are more, let me say, who can afford more are living. Places like Magodo, Lekki and all that. You have them put on band A. It was a lofty one. Anybody will tell, because it took about 40% of the subsidy off the government. But the challenge is you don't give people, you can't give what you don't have. So because the requirement for band A was that you will have at least minimum of 20 hours of electricity per day. So if you don't give people that minimum, automatically they're supposed to be yanked off that band A. So they're supposed to be paid, instead of paying the 300 and something naira per kilowatt of electricity, then they divert to like the 60 something naira per kilowatt of electricity. So that should be the standard.
Yes.
So, but at the end of the day, you have grid collapses, you have equipment collapse, obsolete equipment collapses. So, where is the 20 hours you have promised these people? So, in as much as we believe and everybody believed that it was a lofty idea, but they were not getting value for this stuff here, so they had to revert back to using their generators. So, in Nigeria, ideas are very common. Lofty ideas are common to come by. But the implementation and the fundamentals are what we find very difficult to have before, and this should have been put in place before those ideas should be brought forward.
Right.
All right. Okay. Sorry, Sarah. Before you come in, I know that for bigger organizations and factories and all that, they say it is even cheaper or cost-effective to run on generator, talking about the load they have, than running on this band A thing. How would you react to that?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think so. Because, and I'm not saying it from a layman's perspective. I'm saying it from the premise of someone that has worked on this project before. 2 or 3 years ago, when I did a course on energy potential, renewable energy potentials in Southwest Nigeria, was a master's program, and I did a research on that. At that time, there was still subsidy, but I based the analogy and the analysis on the price of diesel, price of using generator compared to public electricity. And when you look at that, the 3 generator, petrol generator, diesel generator, and public electricity compared to renewable energy, that's using solar panels. Remember, I was looking at a 3-bedroom apartment. So having 4 AC, having, let's say, needing like using a generator that's like 8 kVA.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we got that for you to get to break even. If you use generator if you use diesel generator in 2 years, you've broken even. But if you use petrol generator, which when petrol was still, let's say, 185 naira per liter, it will take you like 8 years. Public electricity will take you like 10 years maximum. And the lifespan of a renewable energy project for that 3-bedroom flat was 15 years. So at the end of the day, give or take, in 10, 11 years, you are broken even. And you have 4 years to enjoy that your renewable. Factoring the fact that you have to buy new batteries. We did the analysis, we did everything, and I submitted it, and it was feasible. So for anybody to say using diesel generator, buying diesel at this rate, comparing it even at 300 and something kilowatts of per kilowatt of electricity, I don't think it's possible. It's what we've done before. It's what I have done personally before, and anybody will tell you it is not sustainable to be using diesel.
Right. You know, just this year alone, we've recorded about 10 grid collapses. In October, in 1 week, the grid collapsed 3 times. Now, the Minister of Power, in person of Adebiyi, came out to talk about the fact that, we're complaining about national grid, and this is owing to the deteriorating state of the power infrastructural system. He also stated that some of our transformers are as old as 50 years, 60 years, which is a big deal. I have 2 questions in one. Now, how would you rate the budget allocation to the power sector? That's one. Secondly, apart from, changing these transformers or what have you, what other measures can be taken to stabilize the national grid and prevent its frequent collapse? Those are my 2 questions.
For me, I don't think we're ready for a major overhaul. Maybe because of funds, maybe because of politics. And the truth about it is, if the current government thinks they want to really serve Nigerians, they still have to subsidize electricity as it is. It's been done everywhere in the world. You can take the subsidy of petrol and other stuff, but electricity, and build clusters. And when I'm talking about the current government, I'm not just talking about the federal government, I'm also talking about state governments.
Okay.
There has been a review of the constitution, and we have seen that even before President Buhari left, those energy has been taken off the federal government responsibility and put on states. So that's why you have states now going into energy provision. So you can do the off-grid methods, whereby and you can provide electricity and provide clusters of industrial clusters in your state, whereby people, companies can come, site their stuff there, their production outfits there, and take a lot of pressure off the people, that the ordinary consumers. So it's an holistic thing. The funds that we need to do that, the federal government cannot provide. So the private sector has to come in. And the private sector coming in must not just come from the federal government alone. The state must be serious about it. Look at what happened in Abia in the early part of this new maybe Fifth Republic. Sorry, it's Fourth Republic, but 2023 when Governor Oti came along with former Minister Batinaji, creating something like a power something in Abia, and you could see that people are enjoying it up to before they started having some teething problems, and they can still enjoy it. So if every state can invest in that, that will give us, and it's off grid, so it's not going to the national grid. So if we have those off-grid solutions in every state, that helps. So that a lot of pressure will be taken off the national grid. The national grid can be for residential consumers, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So we need a lot of collaborations from the federal to the state and with the private sector. So because funds will be needed for this. so that people who really need this electricity can pay competitive rates, so that we can have a situation whereby the not so the people that do not really have can enjoy subsidy on electricity. Because the situation we've had in the past is people that really that can really afford it are still the people being subsidized. People that have 20 ACs are still the people still enjoying 60 something naira per kilowatts of electricity, which is not supposed to be so. So the ordinary person who is in the village, who has just 4 bulbs to service and a fan, what are you subsidizing for that person? The person doesn't really need subsidy, and that person is not enjoying electricity.
Right. But I don't think you responded to the first question talking about the budgetary allocation to the power sector.
Okay. If I can remember, the question was, is the funding from the government enough?
Yes. Does it suffice?
So yes. I think I wasn't specific about it, but I answered it in context. What I mean is, the government can never fund it alone. So the funding from the government for now, it can never be enough. So the private sector has to come in. So, and the government also has to be serious about it, provide the framework, provide the stability. That's where the states come in. So if we can have 36 professor bat in Nigeria in the whole of the federation, then we've started something. Look at what Davido's dad is doing at the federal level. But that won't really make any impact, because this has to still go to the national grid. But if we have Professor Bat in Nigeria, in Lagos State, and in all the other 35 states, and we have functional, serious-minded people at the helms of affairs who really know that power is the fundamental requirement for industrialization. Industrialization is the fundamental requirement to get people off the unemployment ladder. Then we'll be talking about progress. But without that, we'll just be going around in cycles.
All right, so I'd like to ask this question. I know we've heard this so many times that power was privatized and all that. So my question is, do you think this current administration that we are right now, that truly power has been privatized, and do you think the government should keep funding this sector, or should they hands off and let the private sector fully take over power generation, distribution, everything? Do you think that power would actually improve at that point?
I made a statement earlier. I said we're not ready for a major overhaul. And the Holy Book said, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? In as much as I appreciate the former president, there was this fundamental error he made in terms of privatizing the power sector in Nigeria. And we have not recovered from that error. When those stuff, the power sector was broken into gencos and discos, and the transmission was left in the hands of the government. Apart from the fact that the transmission which the federal government held on to had obsolete equipment and should have also been privatized.
Yes.
The people that took over the gencos and the people that took over the discos were 100%, let me not use 100%, let's say most of them were businessmen with no adequate knowledge of the power sector in Nigeria. Maybe they didn't know the extent of the rot, or some of them did not even have a clue about anything electricity. Right. Because Egypt started almost the same time with us. Today, Egypt is an exporter of electricity to Europe. So we made a fundamental error in selling those assets to cronies. People have said we cannot compare that to commercialization or privatization done to the telecom sector done in Obasanjo. I agree. But you can see the progress we made because serious-minded and knowledgeable people took over. even the people that had the federal government own entity that had the biggest investment, that's Nitel, that became the Entel, could not compete. MTN came in, Vodacom and Econet, all of them came in before Glo now broke everybody's back with per second billing. Now, if we had had that same process, it's been 12 years, even more than that, in the power sector. And we had people like the Siemens of this world, the Vestas of this world, come in that time. And they took over. We will not be where we are now. But do you even know the people that took over? Before serious-minded businessmen, like even the Adebiyi case came in, it was just a few years ago. So we had problems in generation.
Yes.
The federal government compounded the problems with transmission, and the discourse now expanded that problem. So now we have to go through all those processes again. When Fashola studied the agreement we signed, imagine a situation whereby when you don't produce electricity as a generating company in Nigeria, the federal government is obligated to even pay you as a company in millions of dollars. So let me tell you, will you be desirous to produce an electricity when you know that even if you don't produce and transmission or the minimum you produce, the transmission company don't collect it from you because the discos don't have the capacity to take that off, that you will even be paid. So what is your encouragement to produce or to even invest more as a Genco?
Right.
So it's a lot problem.
That's
unless
a
we
big
start
deal.
it once again from the foundation, from the Genco to the transmission company and to the discos.
So it has to be, it's a foundational problem and it needs to be tackled from the foundation. I really would have loved to hop on one more question with you in about 1 minute. How can Nigeria better leverage renewable energy sources to address its energy shortage while reducing reliance on the grid? How can they make use of renewable energy sources better? In less than 1 minute, you can respond to that.
Patriotism, seriousness, leadership. When I mean patriotism, we should forget about regions where we come from. We should forget about different. Look at what is happening to the VAT bill. It's now been regionalized.
Yeah.
So, leadership, the federal government must take up the responsibility, leverage on what everybody has in terms of resources. In the north, there is sun. We can do solar. In Mambila, we have water. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then every state must take up the challenge. What is very important? What do I have as a resource in my state? I can provide electricity from Ekiti State if I have that resources and sell to another state. So we should just forget all this nonsense we're doing about ethnicity, regionalism, tribe, and all that, and make sure we fix this country.
All right, fantastic way to wrap up the conversation with you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Adebiyi Sijibomi Benet, and for sharing your thoughts with us as we discussed electricity banding, the hidden cost of power shortages. We sincerely appreciate all your thoughts and contributions this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
You too.
All right.